Hello, Mixtresses and Mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching Mixtress video. How you doing? How did Capricorn season treat you? So we're officially, as of today, when I record this, the 20th of January, have now entered Five of Swords. So we are now in Aquarius season. But, so today I'm going to be talking about Capricorn. So we got Satan, the 2, 3, and 4 of Pentacles. And I'm also just going to light a candle here. Maybe I'm lighting a candle. Okay. So it's interesting to me, yet again, this part's not really that interesting, but yet again, I'm pressing record on talking about an entire astrological season in association with tarot, and I don't really know what I'm going to say. I think it was Sylvain at some point during Capricorn season sent me a meme that was something about like somebody like crying while getting shit done, or somebody like despondent but still getting shit done. And that is kind of accurate, I would say, to Capricorn season. It's like, it's interesting to me that we see here in the 2, 3, and 4 of Pentacles, we see some productivity here, right? We see groundedness. We see checking things off a list. We see getting things done. We see someone perhaps, embarking upon a bunch of new goals for themselves. Should I like move this down a little bit? Perhaps. Since I'm going to have my hands in the shot, so I might as well show my hands in the shot a little bit more. I don't know. Whatever. Not that it matters. I didn't freshly paint my nails for this, and this one fell off in the shower. It's my struggle. Like, my nail polish gets chipped off immediately because of my job, because I shelve books all the time in my job, and also whenever I wash my incredibly long ass hair in the shower, my nail polish just comes right off. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's like, so it's interesting, the juxtaposition for me. 2, 3, and 4 of Pentacles. Here we are getting shit done, checking things off the list, being really productive. Here we are being really productive with others. And then here we are being real nice and stable, not spending too much money. But there's like and then there's Satan. Whenever I was trying to find this card in the deck, for some reason it took me a second to find it because I just like skipped past it or something. And so I started flipping through it going, here, Satan, 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 where are you? It's just interesting to me that this is also Capricorn, because yes, you're getting shit done. Yes, you're checking things off the list. Yes, you're achieving your goals, likely because at the beginning of the year you have goals and you have the energy to get them done, because we start the year with an earth sign. So it's easy, relatively, to actually stick to our goals because we have a groundedness that we don't have the rest of the year. And by we, I might be more speaking about myself because I have 0 earth in my chart. So Capricorn season is one of the only times that I'm actually getting some shit done in my life. But at the same time, we're sort of chained to that productivity. And we become a little bit hyper obsessed with the to-do list. And it sucks some of the joy out of life a little bit as well. Or yeah, that's how I have perceived it. Yeah. So how was your Capricorn season? Oh my god, I think this series has kind of gone off the rails. And I apologize for that, but at the same time, I think I'm just going to let it do whatever it's going to do, and I'm going to keep doing it. And it's going to turn into a chat session real quick. And what are we, like 3 minutes in? 5 minutes in. I guess we're ready for the chat session. So I was planning to bring you guys an unboxing this week, which I hardly ever do unboxings, but I have ordered from US Games. I ordered the Ethereal Visions Luna edition, and I ordered it on January 11th. As I record this, it is the 20th, and I've had to open a claim with my local post office because it's been in my town for 6 days now. And it was supposed to deliver on Tuesday. It is now Friday, so I think it might be lost. So anyway, all of that is just to say, I was hopefully, I don't know if I'm still going to do an actual unboxing with that deck or not, because I don't normally do that kind of thing. But I was excited about this deck because it's actually, I guess I can save that story for if I actually film that video once I finally get the deck in my hands. But pay no attention to the visions of a knockoff Serpent Fire. With this deck, I have bought it, the actual real version, I've bought twice in my life. And then I printed a copy for myself, not legally, in order to stop myself from buying it a third time. So I have given money to the artist. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. And my version of the deck is absolutely inferior to like the real version. Although the cardstock is better. Anyway, I chose to put that in the shot, so there it is. If I were an ethical, nice human being, you never would have seen it. But this is my knockoff version, my personal knockoff version of Serpent Fire, affectionately known as Snake Flame. Real creative, right? Anyway, so I think I'm just going to babble now, perhaps. I'm feeling weird about, this is just my trajectory, just my normal ebb and flow, right? Every once in a while, I come to you guys and say that I feel weird about doing this, but yet here I am. I enjoy doing my YouTube channel, but I also feel weird about it in some ways sometimes. I'm going through another hibernation period where I have unsubscribed from almost all the YouTube channels, which doesn't mean I'm not going to be watching YouTube content. I'm still, like, lots of stuff gets suggested to me. I still watch YouTube. I'm about to head into February, where in February I do like a no internet February, so I will be doing that again this February. And I'm ready. I'm ready. Because I am a person that cannot handle a lot of stimulation. And everything's overstimulating to me at this point. Most of the time, everything's too overstimulating for me. It's just our world gets more and more and more overstimulating. And I might just be one of those old ladies when I'm in my 60s and up that just never really talks to anyone, never really associates with anyone. I don't know. It could be. It could be. I'm barely able to keep up with the, handful of friends I do have. But I'm here. I'm not planning on quitting anytime soon or anything like that. But I'm finding myself, so, whenever maybe you can relate to this. Do you ever get, so overstimulated by the world that whenever you do try to engage with it, you do try to watch a YouTube video, for example. This is something that I'm going through, where I might try to engage, try to watch content that I used to enjoy, and just get angry while watching it. I had that experience earlier this week where it was a YouTube video had started playing automatically. I was at work and I was listening to a YouTube video. I can't remember which one I was listening to intentionally, but then it started auto playing a video right after that. And it was from someone that I have watched their videos before in the past. So I was familiar with the person. So I just listened. And I started getting angry while listening to it. And I couldn't even articulate why I was getting angry. The person wasn't being disrespectful towards anyone. The person wasn't even talking about anything. They were talking about tarot decks. They were talking about decks that they liked, and they were featuring decks that they liked and doing like sort of a countdown type of thing, which, you know, that's a giant section of our tarot tube community, right? Is just people showing off decks. But people showing off decks, that type of content lately has been angering me. And I had to just really sit with that. Why is this making me angry? This is a weird response, right? Why am I angry listening to someone talk about decks that they like? And I still haven't figured it out. So this is just a part of my process of talking it out, talking about it with you guys right now. So forgive me while I try to sort out my thoughts. I really did just sit down with my journal and like write about it. Like, why did this make me angry? What about this makes me angry? Is it the person? Is something about this person triggering something in me that I need to look at? Does this person remind me of myself in some way, that in some aspect of myself that I don't like? You know, and I still haven't totally answered all those questions. But one of the things that I come back to over and over and over again, I've probably even talked about it on the channel before, but one of the concepts that I'm always trying to work out, and I'm talking to friends about it, and I still don't know what I'm even feeling. But that's a big part of life, right? Is figuring out what you're feeling and figuring out how to sort it out. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's like, okay, why am I angry? Why am I angry whenever I'm seeing someone? Basically, the content was somebody showing off decks that they really like right now and why they like them. And the type of language that was being used, to me, sounded very worshipful. To me, it sounded like this person was attributing really grandiose, I don't even know how to word it, was attributing like really grandiose language, really worshipful language, really like putting too much emphasis on the deck itself. And that is something that continually, when I come back to it, this idea of like, on the one hand, there are certain decks that I really love, that I would be really sad if I didn't have them. And I'm talking about like somebody being worshipful of a deck. Right now, when you can see 2 examples of me buying merchandise that is associated with a particular deck. Because this is the lid to this candle. Both this candle and this tarot card stand came from the Omri Brar's website. She's the person that made Marigold Tarot. So like, I am also identifying with this. I'm not trying to like call someone out for being worshipful of a particular deck, because I do this too. I associate, and that's why it triggers me, right? It triggers me and it makes me angry because I'm seeing something in myself in that. And because I'm seeing people give too much credit to the tarot decks. It's not the tarot decks, it's the tarot, and it's us. Like, the person holding the deck is the person that can interpret the deck. And yes, the imagery on the tarot decks, it's so cool having all this, a variety of all these different types of artists, different types of art. It's beautiful. It's interesting. I'm going to keep collecting tarot decks for as long as I want to and can afford to do so. So it's not like I'm not a part of this. But it has, if I'm not ready for it, if I'm not personally in a space where I can afford to buy a deck and I'm looking to maybe acquire a new one, when that stuff just gets auto-played to me, it's triggering for me. Because of my shopping addiction history, let's be clear. And I also recognize that many times that I have expressed anger in this space about a particular thing, it's because I identify with it. It's because I am triggered by it. It's because it is a problem for me. So it's just something that I'm recognizing. And it's like, how fucking sensitive am I, right? I can't watch someone else flipping through tarot decks that they like because I might want one of them and it might lead me, but yeah, that's where I'm at. It might lead me down a spiral. And it depends on the time of the month. It depends on my own financial stability. So bringing it back to this, Four of Pentacles, it depends. It depends. Like, at the moment that I was getting this content of like someone talking about these decks that they loved, it was a moment where at that exact moment, I'm at work. Right now, my job is very overwhelming. So I was in that space of feeling overworked and overwhelmed at work. So there's that. I was also PMSing, so my hormones were not in the best place. So there's also that. My bank account was sitting at less than $20 in my checking account till my next paycheck. There's also that. It was a cascade of like, I can't hear another person, and it's particular decks sometimes too. I can't hear another fucking person talk about ritual tarot and how amazing it is. And let's be clear, like, I've never held that deck in my hands. I don't know. Maybe it is as amazing as everybody says it is. And I'm not saying that tarot deck in particular has anything to do with like, it's a trigger for me when I keep seeing a lot of different people talk about one particular deck. It doesn't have to be ritual tarot, but in this case, that is one that right now keeps popping back up in my feed. And it is guys, if you've never looked it up, this deck is particularly triggering for me because it's an art style that I love. It's collage. I really, really like collage. There's, an example of it right here. This is Tantric Dakini, which I would recommend. It's cheap. You can get it. But with ritual tarot in particular, whenever someone's mentioning that and how amazing it is and how it's informed their spiritual practice or whatever, and it's not even just one person that has been talking about it, I can think of 3 people off the top of my head that have recently talked about this deck being amazing and wonderful and blah, 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 blah. And it's triggering for me because I'm looking at it and I'm going, that deck is $90 plus shipping for me in the United States. If I lived in, the UK or Canada, I'd have to pay more for the deck itself and more for the shipping to get to me. That deck is outrageous as far as the pricing. I will not be acquiring that deck unless someone gives it to me. And, I don't want the takeaway of me talking about this to be, Mixtress hates ritual tarot. I don't know. I've never held it in my hands, like I said. And I won't get to. So we come back to yet another time that I'm bitching about capitalism and what I perceive to be classism in our tarot society. And to be clear, I'm not thinking that anybody that has been able to acquire ritual tarot and talks about it is classist. I'm not saying that. In fact, to be real, I could acquire Ritual Tarot if I wanted to. I would have to forgo any other recreational purchases for like a month to be able to acquire it, but I could acquire it. So it's not like I am incapable of being able to get this in my hands. But there are other people that deal with even lower income than I do. And they might not be able to acquire this tarot deck. They might be seeing, and I'm not saying it's our responsibility as a tarot society either. I'm not suggesting that it is our responsibility as a tarot society to never feature tarot decks that are expensive as things that we're enjoying using right now. Because by and large, the people that create tarot content are here to enjoy our hobbies and share them with others. That's what we're here for. And it's not up to each individual person to never trigger another person because you're going to. I'm going to trigger you, you're going to trigger me. Like, we've talked about this shit before at this very table. But I guess I'm just sharing with you what I'm struggling with right now. And what I'm struggling with right now is the same thing that I've struggled with many times before, which is that, are we still recording? Yes, okay. The viewfinder, like most cameras, is on the left side of the camera, but I'm sitting on the right of the camera, so I can't see what you guys see. Unless I lean around. Anyway, and again, I'm not trying to shit on Ritual Tarot. It is an art style that I like. And to be clear, it is something that I did want at one time, but I just think it would be irresponsible for me to pay that much for a tarot deck. And not that I haven't before, because I have. I have spent that on a tarot deck before. But I'm really trying not to. And it's hard. It's hard to I feel like we're getting into deck worship territory. Where the emphasis, and again, this is something that I've talked about before, and it's probably boring by this point, that yes, I still have this problem. I'm still talking about the same goddamn thing. I'm still dealing with the same goddamn thing. It's true. You can click off, obviously, if you're not interested in this content. But I just keep seeing, it feels like what's hitting my ears more and more and more as far as tarot-related content on YouTube is, look at this deck, guys, this deck, this deck, this deck. And I am not immune to that because the video that I wanted to record for you guys this week was literally an unboxing of a tarot deck. So it's literally a look at this deck content. So I'm not saying I'm above this. And I'm not saying I'm not going to be doing this, because I will be doing this. It is so much fun to show off decks that you're enjoying working with right now. And this is not against anyone's content at all. It's just, I'm finding it difficult to receive this information from people. And I'm not sure exactly what that means. Because on the one hand, if I'm interested in a particular tarot deck, I want to see that content. I want to see someone telling me what their experience with working with a particular deck is like. I want that. I seek that out. But I guess for me, the problem is whenever it just gets served to me. And of course, I can stop it. Maybe I should turn autoplay off, and that would solve this entire issue, and I don't even need to have this video anymore. Okay, bye! But whenever... It's like I personally want to consent to every single idea that is brought to me, which is really, really unreasonable, isn't it? It's like I want to click on an image. Do you wish to hear someone talk about Ritual Tarot again? And then I could say, no. And again, this is not personal at all. This is just, this particular deck seems to be it has got the tarot world under a spell right now. And it's difficult for me because I also want to buy into that spell, let's be honest. I am also under that spell to a certain degree because I've been very tempted to get it. But I can't. I just can't. I can't. And I've even reached out to the artist to ask for, like, you know, maybe she would be willing to give me a discount because I'd show it on my channel or whatever. But she's had plenty of promotion. She doesn't need me. She doesn't need me. Good for her, you know? Part of it is probably jealousy as well, because her art style is the type of art style that I would be putting out there if I was actually putting myself out there, making a tarot deck, which I am not making a tarot deck. So it comes back to me feeling inadequate about myself, right? All of this, anything that I'm triggered by, is me realizing that I need to look at something in myself. That's all it is. And so, like, what is my problem right now? My problem right now is, it's financial insecurity. That's part of my problem. Because I can barely afford mass market decks. Let's just be real. But yet, I'm still having a problem with spending too much money on tarot decks. Even though I've gotten better, it's still a problem. And then I spend my hard-earned money on a tarot deck, and it gets lost in the mail. Again, it might not really be lost. It might just be delayed. It might just be taking a few extra days to get to me. I recognize that I am very much privileged living in the United States because, like, other people, like, have to wait routinely weeks or months to get something in the mail. And I'm bitching because it's been a week and a half since I ordered something. Calm down, you know? But it was in my town as of 6 days ago, so, you know. Anyway, the deck worship. So, message to you, if you are watching this video right now, and you are a person of limited means, and you find yourself feeling like you can't keep up with all of these beautiful tarot decks that people have and talk about, please know, and I know people have said this to you, and I know that this doesn't necessarily help whenever there's a specific deck that you really fucking want right now. I know, I've been there. I've been there so many times. But please know that the deck itself is not the thing that's magical. It is not. It is you. You are the thing that's magical. And if you are magical, any deck you hold in your hands can be imbued with that magic. And yes, there is, like, you know, there's a certain amount of you have to resonate with the imagery and the symbolism and all of that stuff. But no tarot deck is going to, like, magically make you, like, an amazing reader. It's going to be the relationship that you create with that deck that's going to make you an amazing reader. And the deck is arbitrary. I promise you. As many tarot decks as I've had pass through my hands, even the ones that are my very favorites that I really value, the decks themselves hold only the magic that I put into them. As we have seen with many different people on YouTube even, like, if you pay attention to, like, when someone is telling you, like, about how special a deck is, what they're really saying to you is that they've spent time with it. That they've spent time journaling about how they feel about particular symbolism and etc., etc., etc. What they are telling you is that they have spent time studying something and getting to know something. They're not really telling you that this item in their hands is the item, is special beyond all other specialness. It is not an object to be worshipped. That might be, like, what their language is saying, but what they're really saying is, I learned a thing, and I've held this thing in my hands, and I have gotten my oils into it, and I've gotten my magic into it, and I have shuffled it, and I have put my energy into it. That's what they're telling you. And what you are seeing on the screen is their relationship. My candle just went out. Okay, I need to replace that candle. I should do it now, right? Because if I don't do it now, I'm going to have to, like, get all the wax out of this thing. Hopefully he's, like, distracted by candle shit. Sorry that was loud. What they are showing you is that they have spent time with something. If they say something about their spiritual practice has been informed by this tarot deck, what they're saying is they have spent time being spiritual in the presence of a particular object. That object is not, the specific object is not actually as important as they may think it is. You know, okay, so, for example, and I'm not trying to take away how you feel about your favorite tarot deck either. I'm also not trying to do that. But it goes back to, you know, that old, like, photography saying about, like, the best camera is the one that you have. That's true of everything. The best tarot deck is the one that you have. The best tarot deck is the one that you've already created a bond with. And what you are seeing when you're seeing people talk about that, again, I'm repeating myself, but you're seeing the relationship they have to the items that they already have. This person is not spending all of their money. This person is treasuring these 4 coins that they already have. I don't see this card in the way that, like, people tend to see it, of being, like, you know, miserly or whatever, hoarding your money or whatever. But I guess I don't see it that way because I have never hoarded money in my life. As soon as I have it, I spend it immediately. So my way of viewing this card is much different. Like, if I were a person that tended to hoard my money or hoard my resources, then definitely you could see that as an aspect of this card. But for me personally, never been a problem for me. I don't hoard my resources. I spend everything. I spend beyond my means, and I always have. And I'm still struggling with that. And so it's hard for me. I just, you know, I wanted to title this video, or when I thought I might talk about this topic. I didn't know I was going to talk about it during the Capricorn video. It's just what happened. But I was going to title this video, "Let's Stop the Deck Worship," or something like that. Because I think it's not, I don't really mean that, because it's not anyone's responsibility to prevent ourselves from triggering other people. But please know, if you are a person that can't afford something that you're seeing on screen, that someone's showing you. Like, for example, some of y'all are going to know exactly what this is, but I'm not going to name any names because I'm really not trying to call specific people out. I'm really not. And this person's never going to see my video anyway. But I saw a video today where a person was featuring not only Ritual Tarot, because everybody's talking about that right now, but also one that I've had before called Nameless One Tarot and Oracle. And, you know, and she did provide a disclaimer. She actually said, "This is a huge investment. I do think it's worth it, but please know that you don't have to have it," or something like that, you know? So she was trying to provide a disclaimer. But it's hard, you know, it's hard. It's hard when you're seeing people that you consider to be your peers and you might have even made connections with, you know, like a lot of us have found each other and found friends in this community, in the Tarot Society. We found friends in each other. And nobody's trying to make anyone else feel bad. No one's trying to trigger someone else's shopping addictions. No one's trying to do any of that. You know, we all have good intentions from being here, right? But it's okay to also acknowledge that it's difficult. It's difficult to be a part of any community because there's always going to be some issues somewhere, right? And even though we're generally accepting of each other and we're generally just here to share things that we like, there's so much out there. There's so much out there that if we were trying to purchase all of it, we'd all be bankrupt. And I would love to be a person that can just love what I have and not try to like seek new things all the time. But I do enjoy the newness. I do enjoy getting to know a new deck and how different images of tarot invoke new meaning for me. I enjoy all of that. I don't know what I'm trying to say. For myself personally, I would like to be a little bit more mindful about how I talk about decks that I'm loving right now. I would like to acknowledge more about how my personal relationship to something is, it's influenced by so many different things. Like something that I was starting to say earlier and I lost my train of thought. Okay, so think back to the first tarot deck that you really bonded to. What were the circumstances surrounding that? Likely it's something intensely personal, right? It's like someone gave you a deck, or you just happened upon it in a store and it was like the first tarot deck that had art that kind of resonated with you. And if you would, 9 times out of 10, if that same deck came into your life now, you might not even resonate with it. And that is true of almost every deck at almost every point in time, I think. It comes to you because of a specific, it's not like it's like predestined to come into your life, but it comes to you at the time that you need it. And by that, I just mean you are drawn to it at a time when you need to be drawn to this thing, It was probably a significant point in your life whenever you came to tarot. And that deck, whatever that first deck is always special to you for that reason. And sometimes we even pass on those decks and we move on from them. And they're not a part of our journey anymore. They're a part of our story, but they're not a part of our, we don't use them anymore. Or we don't even keep them. But the reasons, and I've said this kind of shit before too, but the reasons that we love a particular tarot deck are extremely personal and kind of arbitrary. They're not arbitrary to us personally. Like if I were to list all the reasons why I love the decks that I love, they would be very personal reasons to me. But it's arbitrary to anyone else. And the fallacy is when we see someone else's personal reasons for loving a deck, whenever we conflate those with reasons that we should also have them. Because we assume, or at least I do, and this is part of my problem, is I fall under the spell of people's words and I assume, without really thinking about it, this isn't conscious, but I assume that I'm going to have the same experience. I assume that if someone says, this deck is part of my spiritual practice and this is why, I assume that I will feel the same about it. So it's a weird feedback loop because I get a deck, I realize I don't have those same feelings about it, and my first thought is to feel inadequate because I don't have those feelings. But at the same time, whenever I do create like sort of a supernatural connection to particular imagery, I'm excited about it. I want to share that with people. And so the words that I use when I'm wanting to share it with people are kind of over the top. They're kind of like, again, arbitrary reasons that I love a thing, but they come off as being like I'm casting. I have inadvertently cast spells about particular decks. I mean, how many people have bought Marigold Tarot because of me? And I do believe that it's a very good deck. But how many people have bought it because of me and then it didn't work for them? I think about that sometimes. But it's not like I can stop selling things to you. I'm going to be talking about the things that I like, and it's going to inadvertently sell something to you. And we're going to find out about things that we might actually really like because of each other. It's just how the world works. So I don't know why I'm complaining about it. I'm just trying to sort out what this idea of deck worship that I keep coming back to. I do think we're putting too much emphasis on specific decks. I do think we're doing that. but also it's a part of the process, and it's just people sharing things that they like. So it's not like I expect like that to stop. All I can do is, if content is triggering for me, I can click away from it. That's all. And I can also make sure that I don't announce to someone why I'm unsubscribing to them or why I'm clicking off their video. This sort of like, I mean, it's only happened to me like a handful of times, but some people will fucking do that shit. People will like tell you some arbitrary reason why they can't watch your content anymore. And first of all, I completely acknowledge that arbitrary reasons to not watch someone's content is legit, but you don't have to tell them. You don't have to tell them you're unsubscribing. You don't have to tell them you can't watch their video anymore. You don't have to tell them why you don't like the sound of their voice. You can just go away, you know? And it's just like, I don't want to become jaded and bitter and all of that shit. Sometimes I just feel like I'm recording myself slowly spiraling into madness and you guys are just seeing it happen. So I should probably stop talking. But Capricorn season. Bye. Thanks for watching. Click like and subscribe.